All right, well, welcome back. Another edition of Out of the Blind podcast. Man, you know, it's been a little bit. We're back to recording these finally. Not just audio, but visually. So you get to have the visual experience. It's almost like, what do they call it at the movie theaters? Like the Big D experience? It says it on the seats. I don't know. I saw it the other day.
Really?
I got to go to the movies the other day. I was pretty excited.
I haven't been able to go in over a year.
I can't say that. I was pretty excited. But, yeah, so I've got, first off, I want to say thanks to our always supporting sponsor, Back Down South Clothing. Rob, have you been to Back Down South Clothing?
I haven't. I've seen their products a lot.
Yeah, he's everywhere. Michael Sims down there, those guys, huge duck hunter, big time friends of mine. Man, they've just got great clothing down there. They got cool shirts. The thing I like about that is they're always switching it up. So they always have a new design. They've got, like, this is old. This hat I've got on is just like the stuff they've got now. You would love it because you're a hat and shoe kind of guy.
I do have several hats.
You do?
I do.
It's insane. You have a problem.
Probably 100 hats.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You need to go down there.
In my closet, the whole top half of the closet is nothing but hats.
Do you organize them by shade or do you organize them by like style?
Genre. Like all my baseball caps are all stacked up, and then football caps, and then work caps, and then just run around caps.
Do you have any exotic hats?
No. Exotic boots.
You might need to get an exotic. Like, what's your favorite hat? Do you have a favorite? You're like, that's my go-to. Do you have one of those?
No. Baseball flat brim.
Oh, yeah.
Make fun of me all the time.
No. I mean, it's cool. They just don't fit me. You know, and I got a kind of a bucket head, but not like you.
I got glasses, so I can't wear sunglasses, so I keep them low.
Right.
Block the sun.
You know, like if you, on your way out of town, and I'm going to tell you guys about this guy that I've got on here, but on your way out of town, when you go through Lindale, you hit the north. So remember which way is north, right? Because you've been struggling with that down here.
Yeah, because I've got turned around. It's crazy. The way everything flips and loops you around.
It doesn't. It's simple. And you have maps, like GPS maps.
I know.
You can't get lost. You might not have service, but you can't get lost. But on your way out, you go through Lindale, and that's where Back Down South is. That's like their home base. That's where the magic happens. You go back there, you'll see a dude that looks like kind of like a hippie. That's Michael Sims. You can't miss him. He's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. And he's back there probably grinding and very sweaty and making shirts and hats. That's what he does. He's got these presses, and then they've got stacks of clothing everywhere. And so but they got a cool sort. It's like a Cabela's without the fishing section.
Nice.
It's really badass. So Back Down South Clothing, I think it's Out of the Blind 15 on checkout. You guys can put that in and get 15% off. So definitely big thanks to those guys. Also Pyro Putty, big supporter of us. These guys, they make this really cool fire starter. It came in really, really handy for me during duck season. I'm always starting fires. If any of you guys know me personally, I'm kind of a pyro. And then Pyro Putty, might as well said Gabe Putty on there. Right, Gabe, Gabe, not gay putty. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see, this is how it happened. But so that stuff's really cool. I mean, it burns in water. You could put it on. I think you could literally put it like, you can stick it on anything you'd want to catch on fire. You just take a little bit of that putty and stick it on there and light it. It floats like I mean, it's the best stuff ever. Gets you out of a bind, and it's lightweight. I got some cans of it up there. Anyway, it's cool. Check those guys out. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, their website. You can find them on Amazon, all kinds of stuff. So definitely huge shout out to those guys. Anyway, so the guy that I've got on here today, his name's Rob Kearley. This guy and me go way back from like car selling days.
Oh, yeah, way
right?
back.
Like way back before I even knew like Melissa or anybody. I mean, we were like way back in the car selling days. So I spent a lot of time with this guy. And over the past year or so, he's kind of came into Accurate Roof Systems. So he's in charge and owns part of our office up in Grove, Oklahoma, which is another duck hunt stomping ground of mine. So I'm up there. And so he's down here this week visiting us here in Texas. And he came down to enjoy some of the nice humid weather.
It's bad.
It's spectacular right now. You can walk your fish a week ago, and now it just opens your pores up because it's 99% humidity.
Oh, is that all?
99.9.
Yeah.
It's insane. If it could go over 100%, it's what it is. It's just, it's muggy and miserable. And but we're kind of getting through it. So definitely welcome to Texas. I think you're heading back tomorrow, but and I was like, I got to get you on this podcast, and so I think he thought I was joking. So I'm up here, we're redoing the set. We've got David, he's a new guy for our producer. We're really excited about having him in here. Huge, giant skill sets that he offers us. So we're running him through the ringer. So anyway, so Rob, you and I met, like I said, on a car lot, right? I think we worked at a couple car lots together.
Yep.
And you used to kind of make fun of me a little bit because I would just like walking through water puddles and stuff. Like
Anybody that knows Gabe Spencer knows that if there's one puddle in a Walmart parking lot, I don't care where you park, he's going to walk through it.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's 100% true.
You're not going to walk around it. You're going to wait. You're going to find.
It takes
a way.
too much time.
You're going to find a way somewhere, somehow. He could have on the nicest pair of shoes that he had at the time, and walk. Right through the middle.
I'm not a kind of a shoe guy.
No, but it didn't matter. You could have had a brand new pair of cowboy boots on. They could have been ostrich or whatever, and you'd walk right through the middle.
I just go right through the middle.
Right through the middle.
And that's kind of, it's kind of my style, just hit it right in the middle and just bulldoze right through it.
Absolutely.
It takes too long. It goes around. We don't want to do that. We got to go there. A to B.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or A to Z. I would call it A to Z.
Yep.
So I was trying to tell Rob a little bit about this, this podcast. And it's like everybody that gets on here, they're like, well, what are we going to talk about? I have no idea. That's just how I started. I'm like, well, we could talk about this, or I'm going to just introduce you and kind of see where the wormhole goes. So with Rob, he is from an interesting part of Oklahoma. Because, Oklahoma, when people think about Oklahoma, they think of, I don't know, what do they think about? Like flatland, tornadoes? I mean, mostly?
Native Americans.
Native American Indians?
Yeah, that's
right?
Immediately what they probably think about.
And in northeast Oklahoma is different. It's not like the rest of Oklahoma, right? It's like there's rolling hills, it's green, there's clean running creeks.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're from like Jay, Oklahoma, right?
Yep.
And so what is Jay, Oklahoma known for? Like if you had to pick two things, go. What is it known for?
Huckleberry capital of the world and gigging.
And gigging.
Gigging.
So gigging is, you gig hog suckers, right? Hog mollies?
Yeah, suckerfish.
Suckerfish, which would be considered, if someone didn't know what that was, how would you explain that to them?
They look like a carp.
Like a baby carp.
Yeah, not like a carp, because they're absolutely delicious. You've eaten them many times.
I know, I have. I did it. We shot a video on it. I think we call it like sticking water hogs or something that we call the video, and it was really cool. Friend of mine up there in Oklahoma was with us, but yeah, so they take it to the next level. It's not just like what I do.
No,
these people up here go insane for this. It's one time a year, right? Has it happened yet?
It was I think it's like the second week of April. They have the National Green Country Giggers Association gigging tournament, and I've seen it, over 100 boats, and I call it kind of the our hillbilly Christmas type thing out there, because imagine, just say 100 boats lined up facing the bank,
right?
All lights, halogen lights on. All you hear is the purr of a generator. And then probably.
And what size are these boats? They're like they're like classifications, but they're
just a flat bottom John boat, usually anywhere from probably 10 to 15 foot long, and some of them are real narrow because they like to go up in the creek, way up in the creek, and
right.
It's really shallow. You can only run a 15 horse motor,
but they don't. It says 15, but these things are doing like 60.
They tweak them a little bit.
It reminds me of they have the same kind of deal, but it's in Arkansas and like Biometa, where they have like they open. I've never done it. I've just seen videos, and it's like, it reminds me of the gigging tournament. All these duck boats, and they all take off at the same time. It's insane. It's the same deal, and they all run like all through these woods. But it's like that. They soup them up. You can only have like a 25 horse, like those guys. Was a 15, right? But they soup them up.
Some of them have been known to. Now they've gotten to where they, on a little 15 horse outboard motor, they have electric power trim and stuff on them.
Oh,
so they can trim them up, and they can go and
let it eat.
Oh yeah, like inches of water.
But they get on the firewater.
Some of them, absolutely.
Right, it's been known to happen. Because some of them, they had to separate them because some go up the creek and then some go over into Lake Uchi now.
Yep.
But before they would just go, and then they would do this.
Yes.
Right, they would just cross stream.
Yep. You would take a number, say there was 100 people, and you draw number 1 through 100.
Right.
So number 1 started at one end of the line down to 100, and then the next night they would reverse the order.
But wouldn't they start off? You had to start off on the bank.
You have to start off facing the bank. One guy on the bank, out of the boat.
He's the pusher.
Holding on to the sissy bar because there's a big bar up there, kind of like it's kind of like when you bow fish, but it's a bigger bar up there.
Yeah. Hits you kind of like the waist.
Right.
Right.
And you got a guy in the back sitting back there getting ready to fire up the motor.
Mhm.
They shoot a flare in the air, and then basically
And
all
that's
hell
it.
breaks loose. Yep.
So do they don't call the number now?
What do you mean?
Do they call a number or is it just a shotgun? Shotgun start.
It's a shotgun start. The flare goes up. Now they shoot 2 flares now because some people are older and they got kids, so they sit them across the bank. So they let all the people,
Smart.
all the people that want to go whenever it just breaks loose.
They like it just for that. Some people just like it for that.
Oh, there's boats sunk every year.
Really?
They'll absolutely jump over each other and just demolish each other. And then they'll shoot off a second flare.
Is there any fights? Or is it just in fun? Like people know?
In fun, in jest. I mean, you may have an idiot or something that takes it a little bit too far. It always happens.
Right.
But if there's any kind of fighting, it's usually on the bank. And,
So it's a 2-day tournament, right?
Yes.
I would call it a tournament. Is it have an entry fee?
it does have an entry fee.
So a 2-day tournament, and I think that there were some points, right? Is there points for like this kind of sucker,
Yes.
and then less points for like a carp,
Yes.
and then there's like a red horse is worth like more?
Red horse, I can't remember how the breakdown is. 4 or 5 points a pound.
Oh, so they go by the pound.
Yeah.
Poundage of them.
And then a regular sucker, which would fall into just your normal sucker or your oil sucker or hog sucker. Those are like a pound or a point or two less per pound.
Okay.
And then sand bass are like 3 points a pound. And then all other fish that are just scab fish, you can go out there and get shad or carp or whatever, and it's a point a pound.
Really? Shad are hard to hit.
Yeah.
They're real. I ate one once.
But you'll have guys go out and gig, 200 or 300 pounds of carp.
Dang. And it could beat the guys like up in the river.
Yep. Up until 10, 15 years ago, no one ever was a carp, that gigged solely carp that won.
Yeah.
But I know some guys that are really, really good at it.
Really? And that's what they go after.
They go after the carp.
Really? You get more weight in like that
I've seen boats come in that barely are sticking out of the water.
because there's so much fish on them.
So much fish and the guys in there and stuff.
So what do they do with all that? They clean them?
They do. They all the scab fish.
So they don't waste them.
No, the carp and stuff, they usually dig a hole and bury it or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of conservation in itself.
Right, because carp can really tear up
Yeah.
an ecosystem a little bit.
But all the suckers, all the guys that gig in the tournament after the first night, they're required to clean so many fish per person.
Oh.
And then Saturday afternoon, the day before the second, or the afternoon before that night, they have a big free fish fry for anybody that wants to come.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they'll feed
They've been doing that for like ever.
a really long time.
I mean, it's a big deal. I went down there one time and saw it. Never participated in it, but it looks freaking wild. Like there's so many people. Like
Yeah, there are people.
it's like a carnival.
Yep, they'll camp for the whole week before up to there, to have their spot that they want.
Right.
It's just a big.
And do they have vendors out there?
They'll have vendors. They'll be selling, hamburgers and hot dogs.
And those Indian tacos?
You can occasionally get an
Yeah.
Indian taco.
Yeah.
Yep, and they'll have a live band. Not
Right.
the best band, but
Well, no. It's J America.
yeah. Emmett Otter and his jug band, they'll be out there every once in a while.
Who?
You ever seen that show?
No.
Emmett Otter and his jug band Christmas or whatever?
No. What is that?
It was when I was a kid, it was like a
Emmett Otter?
Emmett Otter and his jug band. Oh, is it like
What the hell's a jug band? Is it the guys that go whoo, whoo, and blow on the deal?
Yeah.
Like on the jugs?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of like watching that.
And they play the washboard?
Yeah, like the old school Rudolph. You know how it's like furry fake creatures that they've shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's funny.
And they come out and it's Edward Jones, not Edward Jones. What's it called?
Well, it's not them, but it's like that.
And the jug band.
Yeah, it's like hiring me and you.
And the jug band.
Yeah, and the jug band.
That would be horrific.
Yeah, and some of them are. Some of them are really good.
Is there something that sticks out there that's like something wild that you saw out there? Or is it just kind of fade together? Is there like,
Well, I mean, you know how you can lock down a motor, and you're going up creeks, and it's basically like you guys going and hunting timber,
right.
right? So you got these little pockets of creeks that run up through there,
Yep.
and they're running wide open.
Yeah.
And I'm talking 4 or 5 boats wide, and it's a long line. You can see now that GoPros are out, people are shooting videos every year.
Yeah.
Well, my uncle and his partner was going up the creek, And a kid that afternoon, I can't remember whose kid it was, had got in there and locked the motor down.
Oh shit.
So they hit a log.
Yeah.
So normally they would hit
It
a
would
log.
kick up.
It would kick up, and they just keep on going.
Right.
This one, it ripped it off the back of the boat.
The whole motor?
The whole motor just right off the back of the boat.
Oh damn.
Yeah. You know, so.
So they're out.
No.
They just got the motor, stuck it back on?
He peeled down and dove down and grabbed the motor, stuck it back on, fired up, and kept gigging.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys, I mean, Jay, Oklahoma. What time of year is that? It's in
April.
April.
Yep.
If you guys are around Northeast Oklahoma in April, you've got to go to Jay, Oklahoma and see this. It's a spectacle.
It's been going on.
For as long as I can ever remember.
The whole gigging started way back in the day with, walking with a lantern
Yeah.
or a piece of pine knot that's lit and just gigging, walking up in the shallows gigging. I think people, they gig flounder and stuff like that.
Yeah, we get flounder down the coast, and they were like, we encounter people and like, have you, so you're pretty good. I mean, have you ever gigged before? I'm like, yeah, once or twice I can hit them. I promise. It's super flounder. They just lay there.
Oh yeah.
They're not, I mean, very rarely do they run.
No, I have friends that you can be cruising 15 mile an hour up a riffle in a stream, can't see anything but riffles and rocks, and they'll just lean over and
Smack one. And they're only, I mean,
14
10,
inches long.
10 to 14, somewhere in there. They're not crazy big.
Well, you can get on the Illinois River and there's some monsters.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, you wouldn't even be able to see it. You're just like, dang, these
Wow.
guys are good. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing it forever.
Ever.
So this podcast we do, I call it Out of the Blind. I always try to direct it around duck hunting and stuff like that, and stuff that we do, outdoorsmen. And it always goes off on some kind of weird tangent. If you guys have listened to any of these insane things that I talk about, So and Rob, you've never really duck hunted, have you?
No.
You've never, and you've eaten duck, but you don't like it.
No, I've eaten the bacon and the jalapeno and thrown the piece of duck away.
Yeah. So you just never. So like when you think of duck hunting, what, like, for you guys out there, this is going to be enlightening for you guys that are duck hunters like myself, of what people think of us. So like if you were like, because you see me during the wintertime.
Yep.
And it's kind of out there.
Yeah.
I mean, does it seem odd?
I've never seen a group, or I can't say a group. I've never seen a person like yourself that goes just absolutely hog wild. Just everything revolves around duck. Duck this, duck that. I'm going here. I'm going to put thousands of miles on my truck. I'm going to buy all these licenses and tags and,
Right.
and the gear. My Lord. You're like, come duck hunting with me. I go, okay, I want to buy a pair of the waders that you wear. And you're like, all right, that's $1,000. I'm like, what?
Right.
And my vision, because you hunt timber, I didn't know that you went out and you stood in the water.
Yeah.
Everybody that I ever knew either hunted on public land and sat in a blind,
Right.
or they had a blind built on a boat.
Right.
They'd have a
Right.
dog, or they just motor out and pick up a duck.
Yeah.
You guys do it completely different.
Yeah. It works. I've started out that way. Like, hunting out of a boat or hunting out of a blind. And as the time goes on, I've learned, because it seems like there's more and more and more duck hunters that are coming out of the woodworks. And so I take big pride in all the guys that I hunt with. We take pretty big pride that we hunt a lot of public ground. And there's thousands and thousands of acres that we can hunt. But you got to kind of push back in the grind a little bit to get to some of these areas. And so, we've learned that getting out of the boat, especially hunting mallards, which is basically what I hunt, they're pretty smart. They're kind of highly educated duck, so they're going to pick out a blind. They're going to pick out a boat. They're going to pick out those kind of things. So you really got to be able to hide well. Camouflage patterns, it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't matter. I'm a Sitka guy. Just because it really keeps me warm. I could care less what color it is. It just keeps me really warm because I'm out there all the time, and I'm kind of a pansy when it comes to cold. I don't like it. But one of my favorite hobbies in the world happens to be in the middle of wintertime when it's butt-ass cold, so I need something that keeps me warm. But as far as like camouflage goes, I could take you in that gray shirt right there, stick you on a tree, and just tell you not move and cover up that big pie white face you got, and you be good. Just don't move. So, and that's kind of the deal is we take it to like real extreme, and and I think that a lot of guys out there are starting to learn that and getting away from sitting in a boat or getting in a, blind, which it works too. It depends on what you're hunting.
I'm not against it at all. I'd love to go.
Oh, I'm taking you.
But the initial, expenditure to go.
And you don't need all that. You don't have to have.
Oh, I do, because I don't like to be cold either.
Yeah, but I'll take you on when it's not as bad. Which the colder the better. January, late January. Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. Any of these states besides Texas is normally really good. So when it's cold, you got a cold front blowing in. It could be, a lot of times we're hunting and we leave and we look at the temperature gauge and it's 12.
Now, I did hunt teal one time.
Right.
Out of like a Ducks Unlimited blind or something.
Right.
There's a big old steel box and had the place for the dog, and you slide the door up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I did that, but I was in T-shirt and shorts in there.
Yeah, that's teal season.
Yeah.
It's hot anyway.
And I shot so many times, and I think I killed one bird.
It takes a little practice.
It's like worse than dove hunting.
Yeah, it's a little pride. They'll kind of humble you sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like throwing a baseball. It's just an instinct kind of deal. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get you in a duck blind. I would love to get you out there because I'm up there in your neck of the woods all the time anyway. So I'm always traipsing around up there.
I'd love to go. One of my biggest regrets was when I was still in the car business, and you called me up and you said, "Hey, man,
Oh, we were on them.
Let's go duck hunting. I can't get anybody to go. I found them."
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant.
I think that's when I was hunting. I was hunting up around Grand.
Yeah.
And I had got on, I think there was, I don't know, all of them. I put in and I went up in some creeks and I couldn't find anything. I'm like, what in the world, But everything had iced over. So when all those ponds ice over and all those pockets and those little potholes that are all out, those cow ponds, those cattle ponds all ice over, well, those ducks don't have anywhere to go. So they go to the main lake. A lot of times right outside that ice line, and I just happened to go the other direction, and there was, I can't count that high, 7,000 to 10,000 mallards and me. And I called everyone I know. I'm like, dude, it's loaded. I mean, these poor birds were just sitting on rocks, literally sitting on rocks. Like it made no sense. They shouldn't even have been there. And it just blew my mind how many birds were in there. I went in there, set up a little bit of rock point, laying in rocks, just laying down, me and the dog, but next to a piece of buckbrush. That's the only cover I had, is just me. I mean, I limited out like that quick. And then I sat there and was adjusting decoys, just jacking with them, and shot a goldeneye that day. And I shot him for a few days after that. I got Chris Chandler up there. He went with me. I took his boys in there, and we just melted them for a few days. And then everything, thawed out, and they left.
Well, I'm kind of glad that wasn't my first duck experience, because I saw how tough last season was.
Dude.
For you, and everybody that I knew that duck hunted. So I'm glad that wasn't my first experience, because I'd expect that every time.
Yeah, and last season was an ass whippings. I mean, I broke everything. I think we shot less than 170 ducks. I mean, normally we're like bumping 1,000, so it was rough. But you know what? I'm glad it's over. So I'm going to get you out there this year.
That's why it's hunting and not shooting.
Hunting and not shooting. So so what else? I mean, you do a little softball, right?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you fish?
I'd never bass fished until I met you.
I used to be big into that.
Used to be big into it, and that was I'd never fished it like I'd fished whenever you were around all the time up on Grand, and but yeah, no, it's just time,
I know,
having time to do everything. You have to make time.
Yeah, it's tough.
I used to deer hunt all the time.
Yeah,
and don't have time now that I've got kids and they're wanting to go. We're going to start going again.
Yeah, I mean, do you have a place to hunt up there?
Yeah, I've got all kinds of places. I'm kin to.
Because you know everybody under the sun.
Yeah, that whole Delaware County area, I know everybody.
Yeah, we need to talk to them about duck hunting too.
I've got places that big farmers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like big farmers.
As long as they're the ones that have the green heads, that's the ones that I despise the most.
They've told me that I could go in there.
The mallard.
Well,
elusive.
Even dove season, we can go in there that he charges, and I can go in there for nothing. And then
that's cool.
And he's got flooded areas that he said that ducks go in and destroy his crop. And he's like, I'd love for people to come in there.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just needs to take his booger picking finger and show me on a map where they live.
Yeah. See me, I'm just like,
Right.
all right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I live right there on Grand Lake. So right by the highway, you saw it last year.
I know.
They tormented you.
Yeah.
There were some
I would drive by and you would be calling me.
little patches of flooded timber, and there'd be 200 birds sitting there.
I know. I can't kill them.
No.
Stupid bastard. Oh, man. It's been tough, dude. But yeah, so I just got back from South Florida. I went down to the Keys for 4 or 5 days and went down there. Did you see any of that? Did I show you that video?
I did. That it looked awesome.
Have you been to the Keys?
I've not been to the Keys.
That's a badass place. I honestly, that is probably my most favorite thing in the world, even beyond duck hunting. It's one of those things that I know it blows people's minds, but I would literally sell all my duck hunting stuff, probably my dog, and I would move to the Florida Keys and just fish for tarpon on a fly rod.
I've heard that
It's that
grabs a
intense.
hold of you pretty
It's that intense. I would gladly switch up sports, no problem, because that is one of the most intense things. I went down there fish for 4 days. I was down there like 6, I think, and it was hell getting there. I thought I was going to die on the airplane. It was crazy getting there. Between rental cars, stuff breaking down, the plane breaking down. I was like stuck in the airport for like a day. It was insane. And nobody was speaking English down there. I speak Puerto Rican, and I don't speak the Puerto Rican. And even the dialect was throwing me off. And then they had the masks on, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way. No, not happening. And then I was on American Airlines trying to fly, and this dude was on there, and I guess his job, not like I don't think you would call him a stewardess because he's a dude. Maybe a steward. What do you call him?
Flight attendants.
Flight attendant. Okay. That's his, like you would think that's his job. No. His job is to make sure that everybody's mask stays on above their nose. Right?
Really?
I watched him like get in people's faces like a freaking umpire. Like he would like point in these people's face, yelling at them, like just because it slipped down below their nose and their nostrils were exposed. And I just tested it. I was like just testing the water and would like pull it down. And he was like 15 rows up there, like just standing there, like watching, like a hall monitor, no running in the hall, that type of dude.
Right.
Power trip, right? And I would just go like this, and he'd perk up, and I'd put it back, and then I did that 2 or 3 times, but I was just testing it. Like, what a dick! Like he just was like that's his job. I mean, that's uncalled for. But they would tell you, like, even if you fall asleep, sir, we're gonna wake you up because of the mask. And I get it, whatever. You know what I mean? If you want to wear one, wear the mask. If you don't. I don't know or care. But like this guy it was too much. Like it was over the top. And then when you're in the airport, they freak out there. I had security come up to me because I had my mask not on over my nose. And then you can't have like the face mask, like the one that's like the fishing, like you can't have that on an airplane. Negative. Like they'd stop you, give you the paper one,
Really?
That one's going to be better. Put that on, and then it got me hot. It got me fired up.
Well, I'm sure, but you're always going to be the one that pushes it a little bit.
I know, and then we got there. I was down there with another film guy that I had last minute. Got him down there, and it was very interesting. So I went out with Ryan Finney. He's probably one of the most talented tarpon fishermen that I've ever met. This guy can read, and I don't know if it's all of them. Maybe it's all of them, but he's really impressed me. I've only fished with like 2 of the tarpon guides, but maybe it's all of them. So maybe he's just probably like, it's not that big of a deal, Gabe. Like we all do it.
Right.
But to me, it's a big deal. Like this guy it couldn't be just him, or it couldn't be everybody, because this guy has it down to such a science and he knows that area of Big Pine Key so well that he would look on his phone and look at the tide charts and go, they're going to be here at 3:53. I'm like 3:53. I mean, that's exact. You know, and I'm not saying it was 3:53, but it was like an exact time like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like not like 3:30 or 3:45. You know, or no, like 3:53. I'm like, really? Yeah, we got to go. We roll out, right? And we pulled up to this spot, and I've got it on video. We pull up to this spot, and on the Atlantic side, and there's another boat there. Well, Finney knows the guy, right? And so we're idling through this flat. And I mean, it's crystal clear. You can see, it's 6 feet deep, 5 feet deep. You can see, you can read a penny, what date it is, right? And we're going down through there, and he's like, go ahead and drop the anchor or whatever. And he's on the phone with that other guide. He's like, have you seen anything? He's like, no. But right now, let's say it's 3:50, right?
Right.
And we're dropping the anchor. Boom. I get my fly rod ready, and I look up, and he's like, tarpon. The other guy's getting ready to leave. Like, he's already pulled up his stuff. The guy's been there for over an hour or whatever. Hadn't seen anything. 3:53. I'm not joking. I have them on film. Over 300 150-pound class fish, like 150-pound class fish, like moving right at us. And we peppered them with shots, hooked up with 2 of them, broke one of them off. Like, this dude has it down to the science. Like, he knows like the tide, what the water's going to be moving. It's going to be moving like this at this time. We need to be here, exactly right here, sitting on this cut. Like, we're going to be here. I mean, those dudes are, but they do it every day.
Right.
Every day. And so, but my biggest request while I was going down there, this trip was I started finding out about these iguanas. Okay. Do you know much about iguanas?
No, not. I mean, I saw them in Cancun all over the beach. And
yes. So I've found that people eat these iguanas.
They eat lizard.
They eat lizard, right? Iguana. And so I told Finney on my way down, like before I'm like, hey, we're going to go. I was like, you guys got iguanas? And he's like, hell yeah, we got them everywhere. They're like invasive species. We hate them. They're everywhere. They eat up. If you plant flowers, they're eating the flowers. If you plant, tomatoes, they're eating the tomatoes. Like whatever you plant, they're eating it. Especially if it's bright colored, they're eating it. So I was like, I want to kill them. He's like, well, we kill them. Shouldn't BB, pellet guns. You can't really shoot a firearm there because it's a Keys. It's pretty narrow. You can't just go off and start shooting 22s and 243s out, get the AR. Can't do that. And then they have those key deer, which is like an endangered species deer. So people freak out about that. But he's like, we can kill them with a pellet gun. I'm like, all right, cool. We're doing it. We're going to do a cast and blast. We're going to go fish for tarpon because you can't see them till like past 3 because the sun's not quite right.
Right.
So it'll be done normally back 3 o'clock, and then we can go up in the mangroves and freaking shoot some iguanas. Well, he was all about it. At least I thought. And then it seems like he was almost kind of like not interested in doing that. Because I'm asking about the pellet gun, like where's the pellet gun at? And then, subject to change. And I felt the iguana slipping out of my hands. Like one of my dreams of the iguana was disappearing. Right?
Right.
And you know me.
Oh, yeah. Once you get your mindset on something,
I'm doing it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's come hell or high water.
Straight through that puddle.
Right. Yes. Through the puddle. We're going through the puddle. And so I felt it slipping away. And I was a little bit hurt by it, but I wasn't going to make a big deal. I didn't have any way to kill an iguana. I didn't have anything to shoot iguana with. I didn't see an iguana. Right. And we're hooking out across, it would be on the Gulf side of the Keys, hooking out across there. And lo and behold, in front of the boat, out in the middle of nothing, an iguana is swimming. I was like, turn this bitch around. I'm going to catch him. Right. I'm just going to catch him. Because then this was day 1. This is day 1 of 4, right? So I thought there's still a chance with my sales skills. I'm going to shoot an iguana. All right. So I'd make him turn that boat around, and I don't know if these things are going to bite me, tail whip me, latch onto my face.
You see the claws on him, dude?
Yeah. And he's big. I mean, he's like that,
Wow.
But they're mostly tail.
Right.
I would say they're like their body's like the size of maybe like a 3/4 cat. Right? Not a full cat.
Right.
Not a half, but a 3/4 cat. body weight, length, and width and size, and you know what I mean?
Right.
But no fur. Of course, it's iguana, right? But he got a bigger tail than his body, and it goes down to a fine point, and he looks like a dragon, right? He has got down his face, and they have a stare to him, like, don't jack with me type of stare, like I'm going to hurt you if you jack with me, right? So he's swimming in the water, just got them legs kicked back, right? Just doing that.
He thought he was safe.
Yeah, he thought he was, but I thought he might be safe too, because it was all good and fun until I got right up to him, and he's like, and he hisses at me, right? I'm like, damn. So I can reach down and grab him by the tail, and I pick him up. He's big. Well, he starts. I thought, you've seen those videos where you pick shit up by the tail and they flick around, they bite you because they got so much muscle in that tail. Well, I was prepared to let him go. And it's got Finney nervous because his boats are immaculate, right? And I'm in the boat, right? And I'm afraid that he's nervous. He's like, I can tell he's on edge, and my camera Hunter's on edge, and I've got this iguana just held up. And at any point, I might let him go in the boat, and it could get Western in there quick because we've got, multiple $4,000 rod and reels in here. Right. They can get stepped and broke on when people freak out trying to get away from Godzilla. Right. And so I've got him, but here's what's deal. What color is an iguana?
Green.
No, this one was red. That's what I thought. I thought I had something was wrong with this iguana. Wasn't sure. Right. So I got this iguana by the tail, and he's trying to get away, but it looks like he's doing a hula hoop. Like he's trying to get away, but he's just constantly, swinging.
Right.
And so I finally got him wrangled. I'm like debating what to do with this iguana now. I haven't grabbed him by the head because every time I get my hand down there, he's at me, right? He doesn't like it. But he's got these big claws, big feet.
Yeah.
With big talons on the end, and it was like a lizard mullet. It went all the way down his back, and it was big, and he had a throat thing that would come off, and it was red, right? It looked aggressive. I've never encountered one. So
He's like the king of the iguanas.
Yeah, and he had an attitude. Like he would look at you in the eye. Like look at you. Like and he'd blink. Like I thought he was gonna talk. It was the craziest looking thing, right? So I got this iguana. I got Hunter. I got my captain back here. He's not sure what's going on. And I had a selfie stick. Okay? Because I had a GoPro attached to that selfie stick. Because I've been videoing crap,
Shooting video right there too.
No, I wasn't then, but there was a selfie stick in the boat, and it was expandable like one of those things that the cops fling out.
Oh yeah.
And they go to and they whip your ass with it.
Yeah.
It's like that, except it was a lot bigger and not as sturdy. Right? And so I was like, man, should I dispatch him? Let me dispatch him and put him in the cooler? And Finney he didn't like that idea. I could tell he didn't like that idea. But then I started to think, he hasn't been real motivated about me shooting any of these iguanas. And this might be the last one I see. Give me that selfie stick. So I flipped that selfie stick, whacked him in the head 2 or 3 times, incapacitated him, right? And their faces were like, oh, God. He just whacked this dang iguana over the head. And it's like, it's not feeling good or dead, right? By the 3rd whack across the forehead with that selfie stick, I thought it wasn't respectful to kill him with a selfie stick, but that's all I had at the time. And so
you couldn't find a boat oar or anything like that.
No, I didn't have time for that because I didn't want Finney to try to talk me out of it. Yep. But they're dying. I mean, I don't know if Finney was laughing. Hunter was laughing for sure. And
I'm laughing right now.
So we had a cooler, and these boats that these guys have, they're very proud, and this is what they work in, out of every day.
Right.
I said, open up that cooler, and it's part of the boat, right? And it's full of ice. I just throw that iguana down, shove it down in that hole. He was like, I got water bottles in there, man. It's bleeding all over the water bottle. It'll be fine. We'll wash it out later. So I get back to my hotel, proud of this iguana, right? I hooked a tarpon, big tarpon, got him to the leader, broke him off, got the iguana, Finney was like, man, you're living right. I mean, ocean's, it's given to you today. It's giving you tarpon. It's giving you iguana. He goes, all these years, I've never seen one swimming out here, ever. You wanted one. Boom. Here's this damn iguana. So, I get the iguana. We take it back to the hotel, and I go on this back porch of this hotel, which is right on the water, and never cleaned an iguana before. No idea.
You skin it?
Yeah. So I started skinning it. Right. Well, skinning this iguana down. Well, lo and behold, I thought it was a male iguana because it had a big neck, like a big, like a neck drape or a neck curtain, like a neck thing that come out, like, like a mating thing, like a male.
Kind of like on a rooster or something.
Yeah. Like a cock comb.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know if that's what you would call it. Is it a cock comb? That sounds bad.
I don't know.
I'm not allowed to make words up.
Name of the video.
It's the cock comb.
Incident.
The cock comb incident. See, that's what's going to make people click on this. So it's a cock comb, but it was an iguana comb, and it was coming off of his throat. So I thought it was a male. That would be my guess, right? So I start cleaning it, and there's this Mexican Hispanic gentleman and woman on the other side of a privacy fence. But the thing about privacy fences is they're not quite privacy. They just keep you guessing because you can only see through the cracks. Mm-hmm. So it's like you get just part of the story of what's going on over there, and you make the rest of it up, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's going on their end. But they don't want to see what I'm doing, but they're curious, I can tell, because I'm sitting down crisscross applesauce. I have not a table. I had to go to to a grocery store to get a knife. So I'm doing this like a Dollar General knife, steak knife, not serrated, it's a sharp one. And that's all I've got to work with, right? So, and I've got the Hispanic folks that they want to look through the fence, but they're not sure what I'm cleaning. They know I'm cleaning and working on something, but they don't know what. But they know it's not a fish, right? So as I gut this thing and I've got it, I'm cleaning it up. It's full of eggs, full of eggs, like probably the size of like maybe a large marble, probably 50 in there, right? So this thing was nesting, I guess, getting ready to have a nest of baby iguanas. So anyway, I get this thing clean, I chuck all those in the water down there, and the crabs or whatever eat it, Right. So I get it rinsed up real good. Now, I've never cooked iguana, so I'm trying to figure out how am I going to prepare this thing. So I'm looking on the internet.
Did you leave the head on and everything?
No, I cut the head off. I left the feet on it. The tail I cut about maybe I left about a third of the tail on because the rest of it was just not much there.
Just kind of like gristle and stuff down there.
Yeah, it wasn't much. So I cut that off, and it didn't look like an iguana anymore. It looked like a cat. It didn't look right? It looks very suspicious because the tail was about the size of a cat tail, right? Maybe missing a piece. Maybe he got caught in a lawnmower, right? And he got that, and then I decided to eat it, which wouldn't be out of the park. And so I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to cook this thing. Like, how do you cook an iguana? Caribbean chicken. And so I Googled it, and it said they boil it first to tenderize because it's very tough meat. Okay, makes sense.
Right.
We're gonna. Then they will sometimes barbecue it or fry it, but they boil it first. Well, I don't got time for that. Remember the water puddle?
Yep.
A to Z.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I cook a lot, and so I know about different proteins and how to get things tender without boiling them. So normally I brine stuff. So brine is like a saltwater solution, right? Well, I don't have any salt. Guess what I got? Ocean.
Salt water.
Right. So I give me a 2-gallon Ziploc. I go down to the beach, nice, clean, fresh seawater, dip it, shove the iguana in that, put it in the Ziploc, get all the air out of it, put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Go fishing the next day. Forget about it. All right. Come back, pull this iguana out. Well, it looks like kind of cured. It kind of like turned a little pink, real cool looking meat. Went and got me some briquettes, and they had a Weber out there at the swimming pool. And I give me some beer.
This is a hotel.
This hotel.
Like full of people.
I wouldn't call it full appeal, but it had a lot of people at it. It was definitely, your normal hotel pool
I could see
crowd.
pulling out that skin cat.
You've got some older people over here hanging out. You've got a guy and some kids over here playing. You've got some younger girls over here having a good time, maybe getting maybe a suntan, right? You got this bearded guy that's been fishing with an iguana. One of these things is not like the other,
Right.
right? It's out of the normal.
You came down from the sticks down to the keys.
Right. And so I have this pit fired up. They don't know what I'm doing. They just see a guy over here, sun-kissed, because he's been outside a lot, Apparently probably a fisherman. Doesn't look suspicious, at least not really. And I'm over here at the Weber Grill, and I've got it fired up with some briquettes. I wait down, I'm drinking some beers, got some Coronas popped open. Well, I get it going. Well, I got some, so I figure I'm going to be down here. I would call it, Caribbean style. Right? I'm going to find some jerk seasoning, kind of spicy. And I found one that's, you could tell is locally sourced.
Right.
Right. It wasn't like Tones or, McGillicuddy's, whatever, one of the normal brands you see. It was like, I made this in my garage and I put a label on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No barcode.
The good stuff.
Yeah. Looked good. So I doused it with that, put some lime juice on it after I rinsed it out, got all the seawater off of it. Put it on the pit, let it sit there for like 20 minutes, drinking beer. While we wait, we hydrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's an older couple. They keep cutting eyes over here at me. What's going on? Because they've probably heard me say iguana a few times. Not sure what I said. So I go over there, me being me. Hey, do you guys have any experience in cooking iguana? And the lady was like, what? She goes, you have an iguana? I was like, yeah, I got an iguana on that pit of it. No, you don't. I'm like, yeah, I do. I got an iguana. Well, the buzz starts to go around this swimming pool, right? Another Hispanic dude up there, he's like, you got iguana? I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I cracked the lid on the old Weber. There's that cat. And the lady goes, that looks like a cat. I go, it's iguana, I promise. She goes, well, where's the feet? And I was like, well, I threw it in the water right over there, if you want to look at it. And she goes, well, I want to try it. I'm like, be my guest. Should be ready here in a few minutes. She goes, do you know how to cook? I'm like, this is my first one. So I was asking you guys. And so I got it off the grill. It was pretty, it's done for sure. And I let her have the first bite. Ripped a leg, hind quarter off of that thing. And she's like, this is one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life. So I took a bite of it. It was not tough. It was not stringy. It was not gamey. It was one of the best proteins I've ever had in my life. Which this damn podcast always ends up on food every time. But no, that was one of the finest meats that I've ever had.
What it tastes like.
Like kind of like alligator. Like if you've had alligator before.
Yeah.
But not as tough.
It wasn't rubbery.
Not at all.
Because you soaked it in that brine.
It's probably why. I brine it in seawater. And I learned that brining seawater, or that brining technique, from another fly fisherman in the Keys, old school Flip Pallet. If anybody knows anything about fly fishing, saltwater, they know who Flip Pallet is. Well, I follow Flip Pallet on Instagram, and he's an old dude now, but it was Thanksgiving last year, and I watch him go down to the ocean with a 5-gallon bucket, and he picks up a 5-gallon bucket full of seawater, takes his turkey and shoves it in there, puts a lid on it, throws it in the refrigerator, and he's like, this is the best brine in the whole wide world.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I talk to other people, they tell me how much better seafood is boiled in seawater, like shrimp, crab, all that. If you boil it in seawater, lobster, it's way better.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like
it does.
Natural seasoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's something definitely interesting. But so that was kind of like the highlight of my extravaganza, and it was one of my. It was probably even more than the tarpon. That was probably my favorite thing down there, was that. Plus, I got to freak some people out a little bit.
That's funny.
Did
you let the boat captain try it?
No, but he couldn't believe that, one, that I ate it, and two, that it was good. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is how you get rid of this invasive species down here. You just show the rest of the world they're good to eat.
Well, you helped the Keys. because you killed one female that was going to produce 20 more.
Right, 40, 50.
Yeah, there you go.
She wasn't aggressive, but she's kind of aggressive. I don't
Find
know.
out why it was red.
No, I don't know why. Maybe somebody can tell me why there was a red iguana. Because I looked it up. They were all green. I probably ate some jacked up and probably get the cancer.
That's why it was so.
That's probably why I feel like I got Parkinson's right now. I got the shade. It's not good. But yeah, so yeah, we went down there, got some really cool footage, ate a bunch of key lime pie, caught some tarpon, hung out with some cool people, met some cool people, as usual. Key West is weirdos, but they're like my kind of people. I didn't get encountered by the big, large, cross-dressing men that asked me if I was here to see the boys. I told you that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You called me your first trip down there.
Yes.
Right after you went lobster fishing or something.
Yeah. And the crabs stole my keys.
Yep.
The crabs took my keys and took them down a hole. Like, no joke.
Never to be found again.
Never. No, I had to call tow truck out of Miami and come tow my ass back to Miami with my Volkswagen
Wow.
Jetta. And yeah, me and Melissa tried to go get shovels from the Home Depot and dig them out, flush them out of the holes. No,
There's no telling where it went.
no way. It's a big land crab. They tried to get the flip flops. They did get the car keys. Hey, anything shiny,
Can you eat those?
I would. I'd eat him. Promise you.
I'd try them.
I mean, they probably, I don't know. They look weird, but that don't faze me.
Any of you guys that don't know Gabe personally, he's one of the best cooks I've ever seen. No plan.
I appreciate it.
So if he says this iguana is awesome, it's awesome. Because he fed me some duck liver last night on a piece of French bread or French toast. That was absolutely mind-blowing.
That was for Gua, so it's not just regular duck liver. Because if all duck liver tasted like that, I would just shoot them for their liver.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could take that and put it on a dessert and
yeah.
cook it. I don't even know what that would cost in a restaurant because it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like to mess with stuff like that.
Incredible.
I like to cook odd things. I mean, I had John Siri in the duck blind, and he was hungry, and so I didn't have anything to cook with or on or anything, but I had a big fat mallard.
He told me you cooked it over a stick.
I made the grill, the actual grill out of sticks, out of green willows. And it took me a little while to cook it. We didn't have salt, pepper, nothing. He's like, that's probably the best duck I've ever had in my life. I'm telling you, it just takes time.
I want to try it.
It's good. I washed it off in muddy water. Like,
I've never had
I don't even know if I washed it off.
To me, duck would be something that I would use as catfish bait or something.
Yeah, see, the problem with duck is it's one of those things like you can overcook it really easy. Cook that thing to 135 internal temperature, you're good. Don't overcook it. Leave it. It's people are like, well, it's a bird. You're gonna get. It's not chicken. It's not turkey. They don't carry salmonella like that. You can eat them safely by cooking them medium rare. And they pair up with any kind of fruit. So any kind of fruit, jam, jelly, anything like that is killer. Leave the skin on it, leave the fat on it. It's like cutting all the fat off your, ribeye and then cooking it. It's not gonna be as good.
Make it with a nice chutney.
You can do that, man. I'm telling you, I cook them in the duck blind because we kill so damn many of them. Really? We used to. Yeah, we'll just put them. I mean, we'll cook them right there. Sometimes for breakfast in the morning.
So building a fire on the bank doesn't scare off all the other ducks.
No, I've had. I've built fires all the time. I mean, I build fires in the woods, like in flooded timber, in a stump or in the hook of a tree. I'll build a fire, and it's I've gotten yelled at from my fellow duck hunters because I've got a big puff of smoke going across the decoys. It doesn't faze them. It doesn't. I have yet to see where it flared a duck.
It's probably because it's natural.
Maybe I was telling them they're coming here to get warm. It's cold. You see that fire? Smoke signal landing right here.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't noticed it didn't mess with them. So, but yeah, I've had some buddies get mad at me. Like, where's Gabe? Just look for the smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I get cold and there's no ducks flying, I'm going to get warm. I'm building a fire. That's why I carry Pyro Putty always with me. I have one going 2 seconds. And I'll have a nice warm fun. And I'm like, you guys all make fun of me. You guys all that, but look where your asses are at right now. Around my fire. Get the hell away from my fire.
You're making fun of me mad a while ago.
Yeah.
No ducks. What do they care?
Yeah. We're not killing anything anyway. Might as well have a fire and be warm. Enjoy sunrise, So, but yeah, I'm always trying to cook stuff and do things in the blind, like different. Like this year was donuts. I was trying to master the donut in the blind. That was fun. I don't know what I'm going to do next year.
Why do you always hunt in the mornings? Because you're trying to get them whenever they're coming in to feed, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you get them when they're leaving the feed going back home?
That's a great question. Well, I think it'd be tough to get in there because you're going to flush them out. Like once they've already landed in those areas in the morning, you go in, you're going to bump them going in, and they're not going to come back because they're already going to be there. Now, if you could find them, because sometimes they'll feed at different times of the day. A lot of times sometimes we don't start killing them until 1 o'clock. But we've been there since daylight. On those type of hunts, if that's what it's going to be, hell yeah, show up there at 10, 11. They're going to be there at 1. If you pattern them that well, yeah, you can go in there, set up at 11, sleep in, go to the cafe first. Be a hell of a lot easier. Promise you that. You can at least see where the hell you're going.
That's my kind of hunting.
It's not mine. But, I would do whatever. I don't really hunt a lot of evenings. Like, there's some guys that hunt evening. I've never had good luck with it. I know different parts of the country they do. But because hunting public, man, I'm trying to beat so many people and crowds and, you know what I mean? So.
We don't have that kind of area up where I'm from. We don't have that because I see those videos of you or whoever, and everybody's in a big long line.
Yeah.
Waiting to put in.
Yeah, I don't hunt many places like that anymore. I get away from those and try to go kind of remote and off the wall type places that you wouldn't really think of, going, or there's not much, you know what I mean?
Is there a regulation that you can't be on the water before a certain time?
Some areas, yeah. Some places you can't be, like some WMAs you can't be, on the water before 4, or 5, 4 or 5. Just depends. You got to be careful, like regulation. Make sure you look at those, because I've gotten in trouble before. So
I just always thought if you have a spot that you want to go to, why wouldn't you just go out there and camp out on?
I do that 100%. 100%. I'm not afraid to sleep there. I sleep right in the middle of them, and I enjoy it. I'm normally the guy that a lot of the guys I hunt with, they know that if we find them, Gabe will sleep in there with them. So I'll just go in there and build me a campfire and sit up against a log and cook me something good, and eat, drink me some whiskey, go to bed, sleep right there on the ground, and just me most of the time. So, yeah. So then I'll just tell my buddies, just show up at shooting light. I'll be here. No one's gonna get it. So I already have decoys set up. A lot of times I know if they're coming, I got breakfast already done by the time they roll in. So, yeah. So it's but I like the scouting part. That's probably the most fun part to me is just going in and finding them, figuring out what's going on. Just running the roads, man. I mean, we drove like 8,500 miles, something like that, last duck season. So
it's just crazy.
It is crazy. I have a problem.
How high up do you go? Like Dakota, Montana, all in there?
This year, I've been South Dakota. It's about as far north as I've been. We went through Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas.
You going to Canada?
I haven't yet. My buddies like Harper and those guys, they go up into Canada. I haven't been there yet. Last year they had it shut down because of COVID. So I thought it was going to make hunting better, but it made it worse. I don't think they ever pushed out of there, and it was so hot the whole duck season till January, And then we got the polar vortex, and there's mallards here.
Well, in Oklahoma, it was warm for the longest
It's
time.
horrible. I was sweating. I was like, this is not right. I should not be hunting in 80-degree weather in January.
Yep.
It was bull crap. Those ducks ain't leaving. They're not moving off all that corn up north. They're not leaving there. No way. No way. And then you've got all the, people duck farming and stuff like that, building these huge crops and stuff like that. Those ducks aren't leaving. There's no way they're coming down here.
Well, they don't need to. They
only care about food. That's all they care about. That's it.
You probably have those guys that build those big things and they go out and hunt 1 or 2 times, and then the rest of the time
and then it's just a giant refuge.
Yeah.
They're not leaving that refuge.
That can be good for conservation.
I think it's good for it. I really honestly don't have a problem with it at all. Not one bit. It just makes it tougher, and I don't mind that. So, I'll figure it out one way or the other.
Now, you or most duck hunters, do you get into it for the hunt, or do you get into it for the game, like for the meat? Because when I was deer hunting, I did it because that's what I mean. We ate deer all winter.
I'm in it for three reasons. I'm in it for the sport of it, of course. I really enjoy it, and the chase of it, chasing finding mallards at one spot, mallards, not ducks, but finding mallards in a hole, being able to target those mallards in that hole, going back the next morning with my buddies, and they show up back to the same spot, and then I kill them. That's like the sporting part of it. Not necessarily like even killing them is not the sporting part. I mean, anybody can kill them. I can put you in front of them, you can kill them. Especially if you set up on them right, because I'm going to have them 15 yards in front of you. You can kill them. But it's the sport of it's finding those suckers and finding a big wad of them where they're not pressured and they're happy. And then you can go in there and surprise.
I'd never been more mad in my life. John Siri gave my 6-year-old his first duck call.
Oh, my gosh. I bet that was horrible.
For 30 days, dude, until I could hide it good enough because he could seek it out.
And he was just blowing that duck call.
For 30 days straight.
And the second thing is, of course, the meat. I love duck meat. I get as much of it as I can. We do everything under the sun with it, from make tacos out of it. I cure it and make pastrami out of it. I mean, I make all kinds of stuff out of duck. I grind it up, make with some fat, and make breakfast sausage out of it.
I lied because I've had your duck pastrami.
Oh, yeah. You like that?
I absolutely love it. It's like eating candy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the third one is the competition side, because I'm very competitive, and I like to talk smack. So this year, the year before, I didn't get to talk any of that. I've sucked ass. Maybe this year's going to be different. So, Michael Sims and Mason Denson and those guys that run up there on the Back Down South crew, those guys kill them. I mean, they absolutely murder them, and they hunt public. And those guys, they got some benefits because they've got, I think, 5 guys in their team and their crew. They all are very experienced duck hunters. They all can know how to scout, and they can split up, and they cover a lot more ground. Me, most of the time it's me. I've got some of the guys that I can hunt with and stuff. They hunt some of the areas, and they can find them as well. But, not like those guys. Those guys can really...
It's easier to zero in when you get a bigger crew.
Right. They already know the general area, region, and then, they're very good at maps. They all, they have a lot of technology in their hip pocket, and they have a lot of boats, and they can cover, and all of them are not afraid to walk 1,000,000 miles, so they'll find them. If anybody's going to find them, those guys and Michael Sims and Back Down South, those guys are going to find them for sure, 100%. I've never seen a crew of guys that can leave East Texas, hasn't been to Oklahoma in a week, 2 weeks, can roll in, knows enough about the area, can set up on a whole blind and kill a 6-man limit. It's pretty tough. It's tough enough to kill a 6-man limit of greenheads anyway. To be able to do that is hats off. I was like, man, they're cheating. Something's going on. They're not. 100%. They're not. I've grilled them. They're not. They are just, when you're good, you're good. So, hats off to those guys. But
hopefully next year, the old lone wolf will get in on them.
Maybe. I will. I mean, I know the general areas of where they're at. I'm not the kind of guy. I could go in there and scout it. I can figure it out. I know the area well enough. I can start poking around in there because I've got nothing but time to go poke around in there. I will not leave if I know they're there. But I kind of I'm one of those kind of guys, like, if you're in there killing them, I think it's kind of crappy for me to go in there and like scalp your hole. You know what I mean? I just don't feel good about that.
You like finding a new little spot that no one's found yet.
Yeah, where people are like, where are you killing them? I have no idea. So it's they gave it away. They take pictures, and they, when you know much about duck hunting in areas as much as we do, you can tell where someone's at by the color of the water. Like, no joke. I can tell you areas of Oklahoma, north, south, east, west, Missouri, Kansas. You take pictures of the watercolor, I almost can pinpoint where you're at
Is it
just from watercolor.
Is it?
You better block it out.
Though, when people put pictures on Instagram where it's just a set of birds, or it just shows the guys and the birds, so that it doesn't show like the timberline or anything like that.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that now. You will ruin a spot. You will ruin it, completely ruin an area, because there's so many people out there that internet scout. You know, don't. It's not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but not everybody has the time to take off of work, go out, put in the homework, windshield time to go out and find ducks. So your next resort is you got to internet scout and kind of figure out what's going on, because there's chatter, you know. So you might find them, you know, you might find them on a lake. You might find them, you know, people are killing them over here. Well, ducks move. They're migratory animals, so they move so damn much that you might show up and there might not be anything there. I mean, these suckers move overnight, like mass exodus overnight, and they show up overnight. So you can go scout a hole one day, nothing there, and you're like, I was just there the other day. They're killing them. Like that's how fast they show up. I mean, it could be by the thousands. So just overnight they show up.
Kind of like up there where we were.
Right. But learning how to read the weather and know what's coming down the pipe, and learning where ice sits and kind of the habits of ducks and what kind of flyways they're moving, where the flyways changing to, and what farmer grew one field this time of year and didn't grow it last year, and now he's got it this year. All that stuff takes a play, and you know, and all of it. So it's a game, and that's what really like keeps it all good. And then when you kill them, I mean, it's you can kind of puff your chest up a little bit. You're like, shoot, we killed 6 man of greenheads on public ground. When you go into the boat ramp and there's guys that got 2, and sometimes that guy's me that has 2. Somebody else has a 6 man limit or a 5 or 3 man, you know. So, yeah, that's kind of the sport of the deal, and that's why it's like addicting, and you can't quit, because, I mean, I feel like I'm not playing the game. You know, I've got buddies out there that are killing them. They can't beat me. I'm sitting here on the couch.
That's why I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Don't.
But that being said, if you come into another deal like you did before,
yeah,
get the call from you. I'm going.
You need to go, because when I tell you I'm on them, I'm like 90%. I mean, I've told people before I'm on them before, and every other duck hunter said the same thing. Like, dude, they're here. It's loaded. It's loaded. My buddy Jeremy Stone, I've took him on 2 or 3 duck hunts. He hasn't shot a duck with me, and they were there. But then they you just caught them wrong. They just didn't show back up the next day, or they show up at a different time. You know, they might be moving. They might be feeding all night. Full moon, all them ducks feed at night, and they go jack around middle of the day. They might only feed till like 8 a.m., 7 a.m. You know, and then they leave, go loaf up out in the middle of the lake. They're just, you know, closer to dark, they might start trickling back in, and then they'll feed all night long. And so I've been out in the woods before with them at night, and they're not asleep. They're going crazy. 2 a.m., just going nuts, eating. You can hear them just quacking, carrying on. Full moon, they can see. Predators aren't messing with them because where they're at. I mean, you know, so that's kind of the deal. It's just kind of going off getting off the norm a little bit. But you know, I always like doing these podcasts. I'm really excited to get back in and start videoing these things. So many people are hitting us up of you know, man, when are you guys going to video them again? And, you know, man, I really like that. And we kind of got off of it. I really didn't want to. I was kind of talked into it, but we've went past that now, and we've revamped, re-engaged, reloaded. So we're going to be videoing these again, getting them on YouTube, where you guys can kind of see it, interact. I'm going to probably start going live again. So we've got David. How do I say your last name, David? Jimenez. So we've got him in studio now. Nick went on to bigger, better things, and so we've got David in here. We're really excited about him. Super talented dude. He's been in here in the studio now, getting things back in line, getting things rocking and rolling, and we're excited. So we got him back on the podcast. He's on the 1 and 2s over there, and we're pretty excited. So I really appreciate, Rob, you coming on here and kind of twisting your arm a little bit. And
I was nervous, but
yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool.
It's
not
cool.
bad. We got the studio. We got the set back up.
It's amazing how it looks in here, because I've seen it, you know, when you shot them before,
Right.
and to walk in here and see how it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. I'm going to try to get more people on there. And if you guys know of anybody that would be a hell of a guest on this show, man, I'd love to have them on here. Whether we talk about duck hunting, we talk about whatever. It doesn't have to do anything about hunting at all. I'd like to have somebody that's never been hunting at all in their life on here and kind of get people's views and opinions. And, you know, I like to talk to everybody. So once again, I'm going to tell David here, cue up that music for me. Gabe Spencer, Out of the Blind podcast. Make sure to check us out on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on all of it. So YouTube, it's going to be back on. Facebook, follow us, Out of the Blind. Once again, Gabe Spencer, Rob Kearley. Check you guys on the next one. We out.